Hey, what's up everyone? Dave Atkinson here, and we have something very special to share with you today. This is not a normal YouTube release that you've seen on our Drumeo channel before. We wanted to share with you some exclusive content that we normally save just for our Edge members, in the form of a Drumeo course. Now, when we bring artists to Drumeo, we don't just film one live lesson or a couple quick tips like you may have seen on our social channels. We film a ton more. In fact, I would say maybe 1/10 of what we film actually hits our YouTube channel. The rest we save for our members in Drumeo Edge. Today, though, we're going to share some of that content with you. A Drumeo course is multiple videos all around one topic. So this video that you're about to watch has chapter markers in there, and that's because inside of Drumeo, they're separated into multiple videos. But we want to show you what's inside. It's unbelievable content. Randy Cooke is a crazy good rock drummer, plays for Smashmouth. He's played and toured with Clarkson, Five for Fighting. His resume's awesome, and he's the guy to talk about rock beats, rock fills, all in the rock drumming formula. So sit back, grab your sticks, and I hope you enjoy this Drumeo course. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another Drumeo course, and I'm here with Randy Cooke.
Hi Dave, nice to be here.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for doing this course with us.
Yeah.
Now this course is called the Rock Beat Formula. What exactly is that?
It is a way to take simple kick snare patterns, we're going to deal with 3 of them today, and transform them in a way that each time you add a layer or a level of a tone or a sound, whether it's your right hand or your left, your left foot, we're going to make those grooves sound a little different. They're going to come alive, whether you're using a ride cymbal, a floor tom, a slushy hi-hat, etc., using the same groove, and all of a sudden, you don't have 3 beats anymore. You've got 30 beats, and it also is going to help you think outside the box.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is hi-hat, 8 notes, playing rock beats, which is great, but we want to get you a little off of that and show you how you can have fun and challenge yourself and push yourself a little farther than just a standard good old 8th note rock stuff. So, we're going to start there, get you settled in, and then
cool.
we're gonna take you for the ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're a drummer, for those who don't know, Randy. You played for bands like the Eurythmics, Smashmouth, Colby Calais. Like, you have quite a bit of experience, not only touring, but also in the studio. So you've done a lot of this kind of stuff where you're writing beats or trying to change beats up. Or you've had a producer shout, commands at you, I want this. So how did you develop this yourself?
Absolutely. Over the years of like you said, having producers say, we need the same drum beat. We don't want to stray too far away from the groove or the vibe of the song, but in the bridge, we need something different. So having the same main kick and snare pattern, but adding a little more grace note stuff to it, or having your right hand on a different sound, these are all things that worked every time. It was like, perfect, okay, great, that's great. We've achieved some sort of thread through the song, and without straying too far away from the main groove of the tune. And that's how this works. You can take this, any of your favorite drum beats, and apply all the new levels we're going to throw at you at these grooves. And at the end of the course, we're going to challenge you to do just that. To go. Look at what you're already playing. Look at some of the grooves and some of the songs you're playing and the bands you're playing with.
Yeah.
And push yourself and make the same drum beats sound completely different.
Love it. I love it. And this is a great course for if you're a beginner drummer, even if you're intermediate. This is something that you think it sounds simple and the idea might be, oh yeah, I knew that. But actually trying to apply it is more difficult than you think. And literally a lot of the rock beats you hear out there, they're all so similar, but there's only 1 or 2 little things that changes them. And, and this formula is going to show you guys how you can do that.
Sure.
So before we get into it, and before we get into the first lesson, you said we're going to be going through 3 grooves for this whole lesson.
We are.
Do you want to tell us and teach us those 3 grooves so we can get them out of the way now and then apply this formula to them?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one It's been used in thousands of rock songs. And am I going to do this to click, or are we going to hear a little click, or you just want me to play them?
Show us the beat, yeah.
I'm going to play them. So the first one, just kick and snare. Here we go. You've heard that. Don't even shout out the names of the songs that you heard that in. So many hit songs have that groove, and actually some of them just have that alone, which is a great place to start.
Like 1 and 2.
Yeah,
three.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
3 and 4. Yeah, so that is we're going to start with that one. We're going to move on to adding a little more movement on the kick drum with our second groove.
Okay, what's that one?
This is going to be, I'll play it first and then I'll count it second. So. And this groove is, of course, very reminiscent of one of your favorite Led Zeppelin songs. And slowly, over 16ths, it would be 1 E and 3 E and 1 E and 3 E and that's how that one goes.
Okay, and then the last groove?
The last one, super duper love this one. It is. And slowly, over that 16th note grid, we've got 1 E, 3 E, and 1 E, 3 E, and
Awesome.
yeah.
So get those grooves down first. Now notice we didn't use any ride pattern, any hi-hat pattern or lead hand pattern. We're going to talk about that throughout the course. But get those 3 grooves down, because that's the one. Those are the ones.
And I'd love to add that counting 16th notes while you're working on these grooves and getting them solid is imperative. Counting is another form of coordination, and I can't say enough about how counting helps you know if you're doing things right. Yeah. You know, if you know that one of the grooves is, there's a kick drum on the of the 1 E and so 1 E and if you're saying 1 E and and you don't hear your foot kick something on that last thing, instantly you know you've missed something. Yeah. So if you're not counting out loud, you may miss it. You know, you may not know you're doing things correctly. So it's a great way to have that grid as you're playing to a click as well. Of course, I always stress that 8th notes and counting 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and you progress that way, and it really helps. That really helps. You're counting, hearing the 8th note click, and you're good to go.
Awesome. All right, well, learn those 3 skeletons of those beats, the main bass and snare drum. Get those down. We'll see you in the first lesson where we're going to start applying this formula.
Can't wait.
All right, everyone, welcome to the first lesson. We're going to talk about the first step in the formula, which is changing the lead hand. What does that mean, Randy?
Changing the lead hand. Well, that's going to be where you take your right hand and you're going to play it on the hi-hat or other areas, but for now, on the hi-hat, and have different patterns, you know, and one of the patterns can be doing nothing with your right hand. So you can do nothing against the drum beat, you can do quarters, you can do eighths, you can do offbeats, upbeats, or ands, but playing these in this fashion will give you 4 or 5 different ways to make that same drum beat sound amazing. And of course, I'm going to demonstrate this to click. And when you do the nothing version, where your right hand's not doing anything, you can play flams on those twos and fours, which really thickens up the groove, and it makes it more powerful. It's a statement. You can use it in breakdowns of a song, or the beginning of a tune, or in the verse of a song. It works amazing. You don't always have to have your right hand doing something. when you're playing these grooves or any of your favorite grooves. So
very cool. So we got 4 ways we're going to be changing our lead hand up, and it's crazy how much this changes the feel of the beat. You can take one of these examples, play a whole song just by changing the lead hand pattern.
Yeah.
Let's start. So we're going to start with nothing at all on your right hand.
Yep, nothing at all.
Now we kind of did this in the first lesson, but we're going to show you that it is still important that you can play these grooves without anything on your lead hand.
Sure thing.
So let me get a click for you.
Thank you.
130 beats per minute is what we'll do it at.
8 notes.
But 8 notes.
And that is basic, solid, no right hand. Let's do that again, adding some flams. Let's do the next beat with nothing on top, just the first layer, 2 click. So that's the second beat, and now we're gonna do fatten it up, thicken it up, make it a little more powerful, adding the flams to the 2s and 4s. And there you have it. Super amazing flams on 2s and 4s, and crazy powerful. Let's do the next drum beat. Same thing, just nothing on your right hand, just a drum beat. One of my favorite beats. Awesome. I just love that beat.
That's a great beat. And you can add
such a great beat.
You can add flams to that as well. But let's move on to quarter notes, starting at quarter notes. So, same idea.
Same idea. We're gonna go back to that first drum beat. Quarter notes on the hi-hat. Now, just a quick reminder: not tip of the stick on the top of the hi-hats. You're a rock guy. You want to be a rock guy. So, shank of the stick, edge of the hi-hats, and when you're playing quarters, they can be thicker. They don't have to be super tight. You know, you don't have to play them like really tight. You know, can be, you know, not fully, not crisp, not fully open, but just like this. We'll show you how on this first layer.
All right, here we go.
And there you have the quarter hi-hats over that same groove. Let's take it to the next one. There's quarters over that groove. Sounds so good. Third beat, here we go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can see it coming together.
Yeah.
Next step is 8 notes, I would imagine.
8 notes on your hi-hat. Let's make them all even but thick, like you mean it, Not too soft, but not too hard. Still loud kicks, loud snares. Medium volume on the hats, but thick. I'll show you what that sounds like. Let's do the next groove. That was eights. Let's do the last groove. And there you have it, your 3 grooves to that eighth note, thick eighth note hi-hat pattern.
Cool. So the last one is upbeats, you're saying?
Upbeats.
What
so
does that
good.
mean?
Ends like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Only on the ends. So here's the first groove. Here's the next groove. And here is the last groove, ends on the hi-hats.
Very cool, man. You know, those beats might take you some time just to get the coordination down and the syncopation for that. So take your time with it because it's very useful to be able to do all 4 of these variations.
And make sure that you practice them really slow. If for any reason after 5 seconds you're not getting it, slow it down. Slow it down slower than you'd even think you should. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as you're counting and you've got that eighth note click and you slow it down, I promise you're going to get it super soon.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I got one question to ask you, Randy. Now, we talked in the beginning of this lesson how valuable just this one piece of the formula is. Can you maybe just choose one of these beats and go through all 4 of them so you can see how you can easily, you know, compose or write a song or write a drum piece to a song just using that one formula?
Absolutely. I think that we're going to start, you're going to hear this. I'm going to play it as if I'm playing a song, and I'm actually going to start with the nothing. I'm going to do the quarters. Then I'm going to do the ands. I'm going to flip to the ands. Then I'm going to come back to the eights, just so that you can see how that's a great progression to build a thing that you're playing. So here we go. Let me hear some click.
All right.
I was going to do the eights last, but I did the ands last. But you get the point.
Yeah,
you can see
great.
how you can get through sections of songs, and man, like,
It's crazy.
So different.
That's just the first step of the formula, and we're already adding so much. I know it might seem like cliche, or some people might think, well, of course, but you'd be surprised how many drummers don't know how simple it could be just by taking that skill.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Ready to move on?
I am.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next lesson. All right, everyone, welcome to the second video, or the second lesson, I guess, which is on the rock beat formula.
You made it from the first one. They made it
from the first one.
You're here.
And if you still can't play those beats using all 4 of those lead patterns, go back and practice that. Because today, on this lesson, we're going to talk about changing the voice.
Sure.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, it just means, where does this right hand go? It can go other places, not just on your hi-hat. It can go places like the bell of the ride. It can go on your floor tom, maybe rim of the drum or the shell, and even crash ride, just using your crash cymbal as a ride. Going through those same 3 drum beats, I'm going to show you again how different and how amazing these beats can sound as long as as soon as you move your right hand to a different place on your drum set. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to go through all 3 beats again, and we're going to show you in sequence. We're going to do 8 bars each, and we're going to show you from the hi-hat to the ride cymbal to the floor tom to the rim, just a couple of different variations.
We're going to start on the bell. We'll start on the bell and go to the tom, then the rim, then the crash. And when I go to the bell, just so you guys know, bells, the quarter patterns sound great on bells, the upbeats sound great, those ands, but I wouldn't do 8th notes on the bell. It's a little fire alarm-esque. So ands are great, quarters are great, and you're going to hear. I'll probably choose ands and then move on to floor tom and rim and crash. So here we are. We're going to go through. We're going to pick one drum beat and move that right hand around and show you what that sounds like, letting you know as soon as my right hand moves away from the hi-hats, my hi-hat foot takes over and plays those 8th notes. Heel up, nice and tight, and you'll hear that in the groove. So here we go.
All right.
So that's, look at that. 4 different ways to play the same beat. So many different sounds and textures and energies, really.
Yeah, man, that's very cool. When I started learning beats, that was one of the things I put on my checklist is, I can learn it on the hi-hats. But I want to make sure that not only could I play it on the floor tom, which is, you think you'd be able to because all you're doing is moving your hand, but it's also the sound that's different.
Absolutely.
And it can surprise you.
It does, especially when your kick drum patterns get a little more, you get some more kick drums in and you get that floor tom in with the kick drums, and they're both low sounds, and so you'll see it sounds really good when you get different drum beats with that floor tom ride and with that crash, stuff like that,
Well, that being said, let's hear number 2, because now we're getting into some 16th note on the bass drum.
Yes, right. Here we go, number 2.
Nice, man. I get it.
You get it. Starting to come together. Let's do that 3rd beat.
Yes.
Here we go. There you have it.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Again, it seems simple, but try these out for these 3 grooves and the grooves that you have. Make sure that you can play them at least on 3 different surfaces. Obviously, the hi-hats ride tom. You also did the crash too, which is great.
Absolutely, and the nothing with the flams, beefing it up on the 2s and 4s, and making it extra powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next
right.
step of the full. We'll see you there.
In this lesson, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is grace notes or ghost notes on the snare drum, filling in all of those 16th note holes, making what would normally be a much more simple 8th note sounding drum beat. All of a sudden, there's so much more going on. You hear this over grooves, over all of your grooves. And I want to make sure that I remember to tell you the volume of your grace notes and the stick height of your grace notes should barely come off the drum. You should barely be touching those grace notes, next to no stick height. That's what's going to make it sound good. The minute you have your grace notes a little louder, maybe this much off the drum, that's not going to be any good, because even this much off the drum, that's too loud for a grace note. It's got to be really soft, talking 2 inches maximum. Don't be afraid to look at your snare drum as you're playing these grooves to check yourself. You know, how high is my hand coming up? So here we go. I'm going to show you how you add 16th note grace notes in and around the kicks and hi-hats. The one thing you'll notice though, I never do a 16th note grace note before the 2 or the 4. So when you have a groove like this, I play the grace notes after the 2, but I never play them 1, 2, 3. That's a little crazy. It's possible. All things are possible on this instrument, but for our purposes, just after the 2 and after the 4, and you'll hear them. You'll see this in the groove.
Yeah.
And but there's your little tips and tricks for when you're about to work on these.
All right, very cool, man. So the couple things to remember, you're adding in 16th notes to the spaces. Now, we have on here filling in the space with ghost notes, but you will notice that there's a couple beats in here where you have the 16th note on the bass drum. You still add a 16th note ghost note on there,
I do, and that is, I know that that's a little mind crazy, like it's, you know, to be having a very soft grace note as you're playing a really loud kick drum. That's going to frustrate the crap out of you. I promise, if you slow it down, crazy slow, you'll get it. Take it a little bit by little bit, and it will happen. I know it. It's a thing you can get.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so again, let's try all 3 beats. We're going to add 16th notes in, except for right before the backbeat on the 2 and the 4.
And we've slowed this down for you. I've slowed it down so you can really see and hear where those grace notes come. You'll get the idea.
All right, here we go.
Wait till you hear that sped up later. You're going to love it, I'm telling you, I promise.
Speed it up for us right now. Let me see your...
I mean, it just creates this sort of freight train
Yeah.
of rhythm. It's really great, really fun to do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's try number 2 at 100,
Number 2.
100 beats per minute,
Yeah,
but again,
nice and
this is
slow.
8 notes with the click.
And a little faster. really fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Let's do number 3.
Number 3.
Here we go.
And a little faster. So fun. You guys are gonna love that. When you speed it up, it starts to take life and really push along the drum beat.
Totally.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like it's the difference between like a good groove and a great groove. You know.
Really, it does. It does sort of separate the herd a little bit. You know. Yeah.
Would you recommend they practice this using the lead patterns that we talked about in lesson 2?
Absolutely. Once you're comfortable with playing those grace notes where they fit, you can take the ands or the upbeats and put them on listen to the upbeats on the hi-hat with the grace notes. So imagine you had your original. Now just the ands. Just having that eighth note, the ands on the hi-hat, again, creates a totally different groove and a feel. Now you've got a little bit of, you've got those grace notes, you've got hands, and you can, you want to crash on the ride. You can hear them coming out a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this might seem like it's one step, but you should practice this with upbeats and with chord notes. And with nothing at all.
How about the floor? Let's not even forget the floor tom.
Yes.
Sounds so good. Just that alone, hearing that floor tom with those grace notes, man, so
Absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
Very cool. So see you guys in the next lesson where we're going to talk about swinging these patterns. See you guys there.
Hey guys, welcome to the next lesson. This is an exciting one because this is where we take those same drum beats and we're going to swing them. An important thing to know about swinging any drum beat is all those kicks and snares now fall not on a 16th grid, not 1-enda, 2-enda, 3-enda, but they fall over a triplet grid. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And once you have that grid, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, it's easy to fit your kicks and snares right on that grid. Mm-hmm. It takes the guessing out of, am I swinging this properly? Absolutely. As you start to speed it up, once you're comfortable and you speed it up, you don't even have to use that triplet grid anymore because it's kind of in the back of your head. It's always back there, and it'll make your swing feel really rock solid. Let me just show you quickly. If I'm hearing 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, even when you play the shuffle hi-hat thing, notice how each one of those goes on with one of the counts that I'm counting. That means there's no guessing. 1 triplet, you're good to go. And this is the same thing when we do these swing beats, swing rock beats. We're going to play a triplet click pattern, and it's going to make it super easy to know where the kicks and snares go. And as you speed it up, you're good to go. You can lose the triplet metronome thing and just go back to a regular 8th note metronome. But here is, let's play this triplet.
Number 1.
Number 1.
All right. Now here's one thing we'll say too is number 1 that we've normally been doing, which is the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There's no 16th notes in that beat. So it's really hard to get a swing feel with just that beat alone. So we're going to go and do number 2 and 3 first, and then we'll talk about the first
Yeah,
one at the very end.
Yeah, we will. Okay.
All right.
So here's that second drum beat over this triplet pattern, swinging. You'll feel what I'm talking about. And you can hear how they all fit right on that triplet grid. And if I speed it up, if you still picture in the back of your head, you can feel how that swing starts. What's going on in your head, right? So we get that kind of great lilty swing feel for that. Let's do the next.
Let's do number 2.
Awesome. Amazing. And that a little quicker, you'll see how that swing really makes this come to life.
Very cool.
Right.
I love this step of the formula because there's so many times when you're playing rock in a band or when you're listening to a rock song where you think this got some swing to it.
Sure.
Shuffle rocks or something like that.
Absolutely.
And this way, with this step, you can take anything you already know how to play.
Absolutely.
You can swing it. Do you mind doing one more thing for me?
Yeah.
That last beat, do you want to maybe play it straight first and then play it swung? So
sure, I would love to.
Hear the difference?
So here's one to the other, and really hear the difference. Hear the swing when we hit it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that first beat. Why we couldn't do it in swing and how are you going to make it swing?
Well, the first beat had no 16ths to it, right? It was 1 and 2 and 3. Now remember, over a triplet grid, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, they still sound the same. The groove sounds the same. So you only really hear the swing when you add stuff in between that 16th note, grace note stuff. So remember how with the grace notes on 16ths were like this? You hear all of that 16th motion. Well, now, over the triplet grid, this is what that's going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's that sped up. So, it's amazing how just that you could hear it going back and forth. It's really amazing. It's,
I think there's two really cool takeaways from that point right there. One of them is if you have an 8th note groove, you can still make it swing by adding in a 16th note subdivision on grace notes.
Absolutely. And let's pretend even just adding one 16th note, if I was to show you that same beat, here's that same beat. Let's add 1 16th note to the very end of the bar. So here it is straight. Just adding that last 16th, here's it swung. You know, you get. Just adding one tiny element, all of a sudden propels the groove into that swing feel.
Yeah.
You just need one.
I love that. That's a great tip. Beyond even part of this formula when it comes to swing. And then the other one is obviously you can swing with your 16th note grace notes, not just your bass drum.
Absolutely.
Very cool, man. All right, so with that being said, take that formula to your kit, practice it with the 3 grooves that we just showed you, and then try it for yourself. We're going to wrap things up in the next lesson, talk about how you can expand on this and how you can use it in your own practice room, so we'll see you there.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
All right, everyone, welcome to the last lesson, the conclusion, wrapping it up here for the rock beat formula.
Yeah.
First off, thank you so much, Randy.
Thanks for having me, Dave. It's so fun to be here.
Dude, yeah, you're always welcome here. You're a riot and your energy is infectious.
Thanks, buddy.
So to wrap things up here, we've talked about 4 steps to basically modifying any groove you already know.
Yep.
Start with the skeleton beat, kick and snare, then you change the lead pattern up, change the voicing of it, add some 16th note grace notes in there, swing the pattern.
Swung it.
How are the students supposed to use this? How can you recommend the students use this on their own?
Well, the very first thing, as soon as they're comfortable with those 3 beats that we went through, they know 100 other beats of their own. They play songs that have different drum beats in their bands, and instantly they should go, oh my gosh, I'm going to now play a floor tom ride in that bridge section, or I'm going to play crash ride on ends, or I'm going to get that bell in there. I'm going to add grace notes. I'm going to put that grace note feel in the verse and really pop, see how that pops, makes a song different. If I'm writing a song or I'm just even playing cover tunes, you'd be amazed at how much more fun they can be when you start just adding these simple little variations, little layers where you put your right hand, adding some grace notes, as we've demonstrated with even the most simplest beats. So it's also gonna challenge them to expand their vocabulary as far as even the grace note things. Those 16th note grace notes really force you to be dynamic. Because remember, we talked about it. If you're not playing them dynamically, if you're not playing them crazy soft, it's not going to sound so good. But that in and of itself is a challenge. It's not so easy right off the bat to do it. And once you have it down, you're going to start to do that in your drum fills. You're going to do that in drum beats you already do, but you're going to start adding grace notes, and all the musicians around you are going to see the difference. They're going to see what has happened. You know? And we talk about now bringing that stuff more to life, adding intensity. I mean, adding some kick drums, making your patterns a little busier. Let's pretend you're playing number 2, which was. Start experimenting with different kick patterns. Get motivated to challenge yourself to put more kicks in. We talk about those grace notes, those 16ths. What if you take one of them and you accent one? So all I'm doing is taking one grace note and making it louder, and all of a sudden, it's the exact, you're literally playing the same thing, but it's a different drum beat because you've added one accent.
And that's a part of the formula that we didn't even talk about. It's something to use a tag on, I guess.
Absolutely.
Adding extra bass drum notes. I love that. Accenting one of the goals.
And that's the intensity. You all of a sudden, there's literally no limits now, because now you have so many things to just choose from. You have, you know.
Well, being in the studio myself, I remember many times a producer saying, look, I want this changed. So I'm thinking he wants a completely different beat. So I play something, no, that's not
Right,
it.
right.
A lot of times they want the same feel, but like you said, they just want some more intensity there.
Absolutely.
And that's what I should have done. You know, these are the small little things.
Yeah.
You don't change the feel. Even when you add a bass drum, and I can still feel the same groove behind it.
Sure thing. You can still do, you know. Sudden, I did not change the kick pattern once.
Yeah,
that was
felt
the same,
like it, but you didn't.
Same kick pattern, same big 2 and 4, but adding some stuff in it, and yeah, it can get really fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
No, you're beautiful. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with us for this course. Hopefully, it gave you some ideas and it challenged you. But I think apart from that, it also made you think about grooves a little differently and how different something can sound, but yet have the same feel. You know, you hear a lot of drummers say, man, I love that feel. Doesn't talk about the beat. You have a good feel, but you're adding intensity, you're changing it up. So give it a try. And if you guys like this stuff, we have a whole lesson by Randy on Drumeo, basically talking about everything you need to become a rock drummer. It's a great, I guess, prequel to this, I would say.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Really cool lesson. So make sure you check that out. And if you want, you can follow Randy Cooke on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. It's just at Randy Cooke, correct?
Yeah, and you can just follow me, like, just in life. Just follow me down the street if you want to.
Just keep following.
Just like Pied Piper stuff, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
Be great.
I'm going to do that, I think. That'll be my new job. So anyway, follow him online and check out his live lesson. Leave comments below. If you have anything to add about this, maybe you have another step that you do all the time in your formula, I'd love to hear about it below. You good to go?
I love you, Dave.
I love you too, man.
See you, Drumeo.
Bye-bye.